Lawmakers began session today with discussion on Bill 312, introduced by Senator Frank Uggan Jr. The bill clears up language in current law related to money appropriated to the Guam Memorial Hospital from the GMH Healthcare Trust and Development Fund. Bill 312 would remove the requirement for legislative approval, and instead money from the fund would go directly to GMH. Senators like Michael Nicholas, however, were not in support of giving another penny to GMH in light of the recent audit released by the Guam Office of Public Accountability.
Don't get me wrong. I want us to do everything we can to help the hospital support itself. But there's a fine line between money and management.
The audit, which examined FY13 financials, described how expenditures have steadily increased in the last 5 years while revenues declined. Auditors also noted how operating losses since 2009 jumped from $6 million to $34 million in FY13.
We have done so much to put so much more money into the hospital. And I just haven't seen management do what it needs to do in order for the hospital to start turning itself around.
What wasn't in the audit but brought up on the floor was what Vice Speaker B.J. Cruz described as third world conditions in the hospital's brand new emergency room. The Vice Speaker, who visited the new ER 2 weeks ago, said he saw a wall air conditioner between two bays on the ground. It was, quote, MacGyvered, caulked and funneled into the drop ceiling.
It's funneled into the false ceiling, and we know it'll come down throughout this whole brand new ER. That's exhaust. That's carbon dioxide in a room where there's oxygen tanks.
If that wasn't enough, the Vice Speaker said the AC was sitting on the floor surrounded with towels to catch leaking water. He said the damp conditions led to mold all over the floor. Cruz, like Nicholas, feel the hospital administrator should be terminated. Healthcare Committee Chair Senator Dennis Rodriguez Jr., however, felt that now wasn't the time to discuss the problems, but instead focus on Bill 312. He committed to calling an oversight for GMH next week.
I mean, if you really want to do what some of the things I've heard said this morning in this hall, then maybe you should apply to be the administrator. But it's our duty and our responsibility here, Madam Speaker, is to provide the resources to the hospital.
As for Republican Senator Tommy Morrison, he was shocked at the tone of today's talks and instead tried to shed light on some of the positive improvements at GMH.
I just feel pretty alarmed, Madam Speaker, that some members of this body can take it to another level and call for someone's resignation. It's kind of a first for me to hear that from this body, and it's very unfortunate. Madam Speaker, just last year, the hospital got its accreditation by the Joint Commission. I think we missed the boat on that news, and I think to call the